Hello, hello. This is Neta Talmor here from No Hassle website, and welcome to my No Hassle training on GDPR compliance. So my idea with this video is to make it as sensible, reasonable, and actionable as possible for you to create your website or online business compliant with the new regulations, the GDPR, that's coming into effect on May 25th. 2018. I am not a lawyer. This is a disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer in any way, but what I try to do here and what I hope to achieve with this short tutorial, as short as possible, is how to take into action everything that you should do as a small online business owner based on everything that I've learned, read, and researched in the last couple of months about GDPR. Now, I just want to give credit where credit is due. I am basing much of this on the trainings and webinars and group that Suzanne Dibble has created. She is a lawyer from the UK, and she has a big group about GDPR compliance, and she does trainings. So I am following what she recommends as best as I understand. Like I said, I am not a lawyer, but I believe that this approach is the right approach for 99% of small business online entrepreneurs. Okay, so let's start and see how we do. So what is GDPR? And does it apply to you? So GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation, and these are basically new regulations and new laws in the EU, and they do apply to you even if you are not in the EU. I can't even imagine anyone doing business online that it does not apply to, because if you do any business, if you collect any data from anyone in the EU, or there's a chance that you will do that, you need to comply with the GDPR regulations. So it does apply to you, and that's basically what you need to know about it. But what are we talking about here? We're basically talking about new rules for you to control data, to collect data, what you are allowed to do with it, what you are not allowed to do with it, what you have to keep, what you are not allowed to keep, what you need to share, what you don't have to share. That's what it is all about. And if you think about it, it's something that you also want as a consumer. So if it's a big pain in your butt now and you are stressed about it, don't be, but also understand that it is important. You don't want your data to be abused by any company, so you need to offer the same thing. Plus, the reason most people are really freaking out about it is because there are very big fines that you can get by not complying. Now, here again, I'm going to take Suzanne Dibble's approach on this. She repeats and says that there is no police force that is going to go after your website, small business, online entrepreneur websites after May 25th. There is no budget for this policing, and it doesn't exist. However, why do you need to comply? For two main reasons. One, because people can complain about you. Okay, so when people become more and more savvy, your consumers, your market will become more and more savvy. And if they go to a website and they notice that that website is not compliant, then they A, may complain about you, and B, just not want to work with you. Okay, so that's number one. And number two, because you want to do the right thing, right? And this is an opportunity to really up your game about how you process data and how you protect it. Okay, so that's what you should know about it as far as I'm concerned with this training. Now, the main points that you need to know, there are a lot of things in the GDPR, but the main points that I want to talk about and that you should know about are transparency. Basically, when you now collect data, and by data, we're talking about pretty much anything that a person can be identified with. So their email, their name, their phone, even their IP address, all those things that you collect in some way, you need to be transparent about why you are collecting it, what you are going to do with it. Okay. And you need to give them the privacy policy at the point of collecting their data. Okay. So this is different. So than what the previous rules were. If you now have a privacy policy on your website, but it is in a small link on the footer, or people actually have to search for it and it's not obvious, then that will not fly anymore. With the new regulations, people who are signing up, for example, for an opt-in from you, for your newsletter, are buying something from you, anything like that, where they are giving you their personal data and you're collecting it, you need to give them a very clear link and access to your privacy policy. Okay. And you need to be transparent about what you are going to do with that information and why you're collecting it. So that's point number one. Point number two is consent. This is also different than any kind of previous regulation and rules. You now need people need to give you affirmative action that they are giving you consent. So it's not enough for them to not opt out. They need to say, yes, I understand and I want this. I want to sign up. I want to give you the information. Okay. It needs to be affirmative, an affirmative act. And in most cases, as you will see when I explain what we need to do for your website and business, it really means a checkbox that is not checked by default, where they can check and say, yes, I agree to this. And only then they can sign up or give you their data. Okay. So that's very important. It has to be conditional. They cannot give you their data without their consent first. Okay. And the third thing that you need to know about is that the privacy policy that you have or don't have currently on your website, or although you should be updated and comply with the new GDPR regulations. Okay. Now, what do you actually need to do? This is the fun part. And I think this is what people are most stressed about. So I'm going to go over all these things with you and show you how you can do it and make your website compliant really, really quickly. Now, I just want to say my training and everything I'm showing you is going to be mainly based on what I am doing on one of my no hassle website demo website. You can do it on your website. Obviously, not everything will necessarily be exactly the same, but the idea is exactly the same. And you may need to look for a specific solution for your theme or for your opt-in or for your mail service, but the idea is exactly the same. And in any case, my training is relevant to all websites that use the Divi theme and Bloom opt-ins. Okay, so if you are using Divi and Bloom as your opt-in plugin, then everything in this training will apply to you exactly the same. Okay, so let's start. Let's see. So what did we say here? What do you actually need to do? The first thing you need to do is audit your personal data records. So you need to go over everything you already have, all the data you've already collected from opt-ins, from clients, from any kind. Even if you have an offline business that you collected data, you need to look at everything there, and all of it needs to be compliant with the new regulations. Okay. And I'll explain how we're moving forward with that. But anything that is not, anything that was shared, anything like that, you need to understand where you got it, what was shared, if it was shared, hopefully it wasn't, and understand your exact situation now. Just go over and think about what data you actually are holding. If it's clients, if it's opt-ins, if it is other, even business cards. Okay, again, I'm not a lawyer, but you just have to understand all these rules apply to every kind of personal data that you are collecting on other people. Okay. The next thing you need to do is refresh your privacy policy on your website. Now, this is a tricky one, and I have looked everywhere, and all the places lead to one template that seems to be the best template. And if you're not going to create your own privacy policy, and I do not recommend you do that, then I do recommend you use this. Okay, so this is a link that I'm going to give you. Let's go here. This is a German website, and if you start searching and looking for it, you'll probably get to it. They did something really nice, and I think they really deserve the credit for it. They've created a privacy policy generator that is quite advanced. Okay. Now you don't really need to watch this video because I'm going to show you. Plus it's in German. So unless you know German, it will be a little hard. But this is what you need to do. You need to go to this link and you need to fill out your information. Now I'm going to just do, I'm going to put, let's do New York, country, USA. This is just for illustration purposes here. Okay, and email at mywebsite.com, and your website, nohasslewebsite.com. Okay, now you need to click here on English usually. And this is the fun part, and this is what they really made very nicely. You need to now go over all of these and tick what's relevant for you. I'm not going to go over everything, but I do want to show you how it works. So yes, you use cookies, customers can register, we offer subscription, we have a contact form, we have a blog, there are possibilities to apply. Yes, we have comments for the blog content. I don't offer jobs. Okay, data protection officer. If you're a big company, you have it. If you're a small company, you do not have it and don't need it. Social media. Yes, Facebook. Okay, I'm not going to do everything, but I do. Analysis tools. Yes, I have Google Analytics on my websites. Okay, internet advertising. I don't do it, but let's say you do Google AdWords, so you would tick here. Online marketing. None of these companies are applied to me specifically. WordPress plugins. None of these. Add this is one for sharing, and Jetpack is, many of you may have these, so make sure to click on those. Payment options. I have PayPal and miscellaneous. None of these apply. Okay, so first of all, you need to consent to their own terms, which makes sense now. And the other thing is, when you click here and give them their consent, what you are agreeing to is that their name, and I'll show you, this company's name will show up at the end of the privacy policy. So do not delete that, because that is not fair and you are not complying with their terms of service. Okay. So once you put this, you can click generate privacy policy. And what you will get here is your privacy policy in HTML and as general, just regular text. I'm going to copy the text to the clipboard, and now I'm going to go to my website and I'm going to show you what we're doing. So again, this is one of my No Hassle website demo websites, and we already have privacy policy. Okay, so currently by default, this website uses an auto terms of service and privacy policy page generators, okay? But we need to update them. So basically what you need to do, regardless of what you were using before, is go to your privacy policy page and edit that, okay? So I'm going to go to pages and I'm going to look for my privacy policy page. Where am I? Here it is, okay? And I'm going to go and edit it. Again, this may look different on your website, but the idea is exactly the same. So here, this little code is what makes what usually the privacy policy that is currently on the website. This is how it works, because this works with that plugin that I just mentioned. Okay, but now I'm going to remove this completely, and I'm going to paste here everything that we just copied that was generated. Now, I just want to show you how specific this privacy policy is. So not only does it use all the information that I put, of course, in, but it already has, for example, everything we ticked. Let me show you what I mean. For example, if we click that we use Facebook, then it already puts here, where am I? Let's search for Facebook on the page here. It already puts all the specific information of Facebook, including, their business addresses and what they do with my information, with the information that it will collect, including Google Analytics and everything. That's why you had to tick everything. Okay. So that is the best template that I found online. I keep on getting it no matter where I search for it. And I think this is what you should and can use. So this is your privacy policy. We're now going to update this page, and now our privacy policy is up to date. Yes, check. Done. Okay, let's continue. The next thing you need to do is okay, we can do this later, but I want to talk about it. You need to email your list and ask for GDPR compliant consent. Now, this is something that some of you may not be happy about, but you have to do. You cannot use the list that you have, even if it's huge and you've been collecting it for years. You cannot use it because it is 99% not compliant with the current GDPR regulations. Okay, so you need to ask for permission again. You can see it as a terrible and really unfortunate situation, but you can also see it as an opportunity to clean your lists, because if only 20% of the people on your list are actually going to reconfirm and sign up for your lists, that probably means that only 20% are engaging with you anyway and want to hear from you. Okay. And by cleaning your list, you'll have higher deliverability. You will be less spammy to those people. And possibly it would cost you less every month on your mail service. Okay. So there are many ways to do this. I just want to show you a couple of things. And depending on the mail service that you are using, you should check with them if they already have a system in place to turn your lists into GDPR compliant. So I'll give you an example. MailerLite, which is a mail company, they sent out an email, a blog post and a notification to all their users that they have put in place a system to make it as easy as possible for people to contact their list and ask them to approve that they're okay with staying on the list, and now that it is GDPR compliant. So they've created this template for their users, and then you would be sending out this email to your list, and only when people click that they want to stay on the list, they will be added to a new list that will tell you, if this is a list, for example, for your newsletter, it will automatically create a new GDPR compliant newsletter list for you in MailerLite. So this is a great feature. Not all services have made this kind of solution available, but please don't worry. There are pretty straightforward ways to do it. Okay. So another way to do it is to create your own email in your mail service. So let's say you are with MailChimp or GetResponse, or I don't know which service, and I don't know which ones have made it easy or not. But if you don't have a good system to re-engage and ask for permission, then you will simply need to write your own email and send it out to your list. And I recommend you consolidate some of your lists, go over your list and think, can I consolidate these lists? Does it really make sense that they're separated, or I can put them together? But let's say at the end you have 6 different lists. One came originally from your newsletter. One is a PDF download that people signed up for. One is your customer list, whatever kind of list you have in your mail service. Let's say you have 5 lists. So you will need to create 5 new lists and call them, the original name of the list plus GDPR now. And you will then need to email each of them something. I'm just showing you a sample of a kind of email that you can use where you're asking them to re-sign for your list. You want to get their consent, their affirmative consent that they want to be on the list, that now they are giving you consent with the new rules to, basically collect their data and send them information. So you'll create an email and you will send it, and you will tell them either to unsubscribe. So there's always an unsubscribe link, but you'll make it very easy for them to say, I want to unsubscribe. And the other button or the other link should go simply to a new opt-in form. So usually you don't need to make a new landing page or anything like that. In your mail service, just create an opt-in that this will link to it. Okay. So you want to say, yes, keep me on the list. People will click on it. They will get to the new opt-in that is now for your new list, the GDPR list, and they will be able to rejoin you. And after this process, on May 24th, just before this all goes into effect, you will basically delete all records of your old lists, and you will only keep the ones that people confirm that they agree to stay on. I hope that made sense. I wanted to keep it as easy as possible. You need to look if your mail service has a solution for you. If it does not have one, just do what I said. Create new lists that will have 0 people at the beginning. Then send an email to all your existing lists and say, hey, guys, I need you to reconfirm and give me consent. And if they do, they will click and get to the opt-in to get on that new list. Okay? So that was number 2 or 3. Where are we? We are here. Okay, so that was email your list and ask for GDPR compliant consent. Now, you should do this. I should have put it down at the end. You should do this only after you do all these 4 things that I'm going to talk about now, okay? Because you want your website to be compliant when you're sending out this email for asking people to sign up again to your newsletter or lists, okay? Now let's move on. We're almost done. This is not too difficult. The next thing you need to do is add a consent checkbox to all your opt-ins. Now, I can't cover all options and all opt-ins. So like I said before, this will show you how you can do it for any website that you have that uses the Divi theme and Bloom opt-ins. Okay, so I want to show you. Let's go back to here. So we've updated our privacy policy, so we're done with that. Now what we want to do is I use Bloom as the opt-in plugin, right? So if we go to the website, for example, you will see that I have opt-ins on the home page here. And for example, we also have a freebies page. So if people go here and they can say, yes, I want it, and it opens a pop-up. Okay, so we now cannot do it anymore. This would not be compliant. What we need, if you remember, is people need to check a box to give us consent, affirmative act consent that they agree to what we're saying here and have access, immediate and easy access to the privacy policy page to know what they're signing for. Okay, so how do we do that? There are different services. Again, some services are now making it easier for their customers so that these options would be available. Some will do it later on. As far as Bloom is considered, I do believe that even before May 25th, they will come out with this option that I'm going to show you. But at the moment, it doesn't exist. So if you want to move forward and make it right now and not wait for elegant themes with Created Divi and Bloom, if you don't want to wait for them to come up with a new update, although they've been kind of promising and hinting that they will come out with it, the solution that I have for you costs $7. And it is called, oh, I didn't open it here. It is called Bloom Overlay. Okay, so I'll show you. It is a $7 plugin. I think, again, well worth the money. And as an entrepreneur, I salute this guy who came up with this because it's a smart product and it's priced very nicely. So this product, the Bloom GDPR overlay plugin that costs $7 and you can use it on all your websites. I'll show you what it does. Okay. So I bought it, of course. So now let me show you. Let's go back to the website and you need to buy it. Then you download a zip file and then you upload the plugin. Okay. So let's add the new plugin. And I'm going to look for it. So remember, I already bought it and downloaded it. But do I know where it is? Here it is. Okay, so this is the zip file. And I'm going to click open here and then install. And this does something very simple and very cool. I'm going to click activate plugin now. It's now installed. And what I need to do is go to Divi theme options. So remember, for all of this to work, you need to use Bloom and to have Divi. And now here we see a new tab here under the general tab called Bloom and Divi GDPR. And I'm not going to go over this information, but the only thing you really need to take care of is link to your privacy policy page. So in our case, it's my It's the address, it's the URL, and then slash privacy policy. So you need to put the link to your privacy policy, the page we just made and updated, so that it is, you'll see, so it's linked to it. Of course, read these and decide how to change it. But one thing that you need to know about it is this form collects the information you enter here, so we can provide you with exciting news in the future, blah blah blah. You need to change this to cover why you are, to be transparent about why you are collecting this data. Now, there is a small issue here, but it's not that the rules are very clear about it, but you need to be specific, and you can't just give a description that covers every possible option that you're ever going to email them about, okay? But in other words, in theory, you should have, in theory, 3 different checkboxes. For example, one saying, by doing this, you agree to receive our newsletter. And then another one saying you agree to receive promotions. And the other one, you agree to receive educational information. I have yet to see a good tech solution for this with Bloom or with anything else. It can become really, really messy. And my suggestion, and again, using the sensible and reasonable solutions, is to simply cover as little as you can, but that will cover what you need. So, for example, you can say marketing and promotional information or something like that is generic enough for you to be able to send them information also, for example, on a new product, but at the same time, it is not so generic that it is not granular enough, which is what they require. Okay, so think about how you word this. But let's say this is good and we're happy about it. You just click Save Changes. Now, I will show you that what's cool about this specific plugin is that it picks up on the color of your original plugin. On your original, the colors of your original opt-in. So, but if you do need to override that, you can do it here. But I'm not going to override anything. I'm going to say Save Changes. Now I want to show you what happens when we visit the site again. Remember how before we could just plug in the info? Look what happens now when I click on this. It will put an overlay with a message. Now, I have noticed as I was testing it that sometimes it looks a little weird, and I'll show you what I mean. Here, you see? So first of all, as soon as someone tried to click on it, an overlay message came here, but you see that it has this little line. So this is specifically to Bloom and the way it was designed. You can simply go into your Bloom opt-in and change it. So I'll show you. So it doesn't have this, line there, which is basically added on top, and just have a straight line. I think that is the best solution in this case. But in any case, when someone starts to put in their info, they get a message with a link to the privacy policy and a checkbox they must click on, because otherwise they won't be able to do it. Okay. Now I'll just show you. This is also true for the freebies page that I showed you before. So even now, the pop-up here, if I click here, we will see this message. Okay, here it doesn't look so bad. But that's basically the idea. So this is how we make the opt-ins compliant to the new regulations. Cool, right? So again, if you don't have Bloom, you need to find your specific solution, but there must be one, because all mail services are looking into solutions, and there are plugins that help that, or a little bit of code that you may need to add, but you should contact your mail service or your opt-in plugin to figure out the best way to do it. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's go back. So we added a consent checkbox to our opt-ins. Now we need to add a consent checkbox to your contact forms. Any place, any point that you collect data, you need that. So with that, it's actually easier, and you may have that built into your website in a way. So if we go to the Contact Me page, for example, where we have this, so this is how you can do it with Divi. I'm going to enable the Visual Builder. And basically, what you can do is, so I'm going to edit this form area, right? This is the contact form. I can add another field, and that field in the field options, I'm going to say that it is a checkbox. Okay? And do not check it by default. Do not. I'm going to say I agree to your policy. I'm not going to really get into it, but you put this in here, and here, just a second, you can just put like an asterisk. This would do that. Yes, I just want an asterisk. And basically, you need to make it mandatory. Okay, that's very important. Where do I find that? Required field. Excellent. So by doing this little thing here, I can save now. We can go out. I have made it required. I don't know why I didn't save here. I made it required to fill out the information and check this box before this form could be submitted. If people don't check this and I click submit, nothing will happen because it won't let you. It will tell you that this is mandatory. Okay? So this is how you do it on your forms, and you should look for what theme you have and what forms you're working. If you have a plugin for your forms, they are most likely working on or already have a solution for GDPR. So just look for that. Okay. But that's basically how you do that. Let's move on. We're almost done. So we've added a consent box for the opt-ins. We added a consent box for the contact form. Add a consent checkbox to your online shop. Okay. So with this, I am again talking about a WordPress website and WooCommerce in this case. Again, if you are using an external website like Shopify for your shop, I'm quite sure that they are making it available for you as well. But if you have a WordPress shop like WooCommerce, you need to do it yourself because currently it's not built in. So I'll show you what we have for that. You can go to our dashboard. I am using, no, not here, this one. No, oops, where am I? Where is what I'm looking for? Why am I missing something here? Nope. Okay, I am missing a link here that I wanted to show you, but I'll just find it here. So you need to go to your plugins and add a new plugin. I'm sure I had it open here. Is it? Nope. I guess I didn't do it. Okay, so I wanted to search here for GDPR. Okay? And the plugin that I wanted to install, or I recommend you install, is this one. Okay? WP GDPR compliance. Not this one, none of the other ones. This one. So we're going to install it. And we're going to activate it. And you will now see it. Where do we see it? We see it here. And you can go to settings. And you can also find it under tools in WP GDPR settings. So this is very nice. And again, this is after a lot of research and recommendations and testing a few of the options that are available. What this will do for you especially is make it compliant for your blog area, for the comments area, that area, and for WooCommerce. So all you need to do is say yes here and yes here. And you need to put a link to your privacy policy. So you grab this little code and you copy that, and then you can put it. You can say, by using this form, you agree with the storage and handling of your data by this website. For example, to see our privacy, or click here, click here to see our, and then you paste what you just copied, the privacy policy, and this will link to your privacy policy page. Okay. So make sure you add that because it's important. Please accept the privacy checkbox. Okay. For the same thing for WordPress comments. And then we're going to go, let's save changes. Let's now go to the checklist. You need to say, do you have contact form? Yes. So the reason they're asking here is because this does integrate with a couple of contact forms, but it's not relevant to us now because we did it manually. Can visitor comment anywhere on your website? Yes. Is there an order form? Yes. Do you provide a form message? No. Can visitor chat? No. Okay. And then settings is where you will actually put you will choose your privacy policy page. So you will look for your privacy policy page, this is how they will know to put the link. Now, let me show you what this does. We save the changes, and this is what this does. If we now go to the website and go to the shop, to WooCommerce area, and this is just all dummy kind of things. Let's say we add this to the cart. Did I add it? I don't know. Okay, and now let's go to view the cart. And let's proceed to checkout. Now, I'll just scroll all the way down so you can see. Do you see? This is now added here. By using this form, you agree with the storage and handling of your data. Click here to see our privacy policy. Remember, we just wrote this, and this now privacy policy is linking to our privacy policy page, which we just did a few minutes ago. Cool? Cool. So we now made our store compliant, okay? So we did our online shop. The last thing I want to talk to you about is how to make your online course registration page compliant. Now, if you don't have an online course, then you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to show you specifically about what I use for my no hassle membership and course platform, which is MemberPress. So again, you need to go and figure out what kind of plugin you're using for your course or membership area and see if they offer you that option. So when you go to MemberPress, okay, which is what I'm using here, this is another website I'm just showing you. And if you go to MemberPress and options and then go to account, you will see here an option, require terms of service on membership registration forms. You want to click on that. You want to give the page for your privacy policy for this website, right? You need to create a new one if it's on a separate website. And I have read and agreed to the, privacy policy terms or whatever. And that will show up and will be a required field in your registration page for the course. Okay. So that's the last part. So to summarize, people, what you need to really do is audit your data that you already have and clean it and, destroy what you can't use and shouldn't use. Then you should refresh your privacy policy using this link that I gave you for the generator. You then need to add the consent boxes to your opt-ins, contact forms, online shop, and online course. And at the end, you need to send out an email to your entire list. And so they will be added to new lists that are GDPR compliant, and only use those. And on, May 24th, May 25th in the morning, you destroy all records of anyone else that was not, did not sign up again to your list. Okay. The last thing you need to remember about this entire process is that after you do all of this, you still are responsible. It's not a one-time thing. You need to continue and comply with the data protection principles of the GDPR. Okay, you need to protect the data. If there's a breach of your data, then you need to report on it to the right authorities, look it up and find where you need to report that. You need to maintain the records of everything. So I didn't mention it before, but you basically need to be able to show proof that you've done all of these things. In other words, you need to be able to show that if you emailed your list again and they now consented, your mail service, all the big mail services have exact records of the time, where they got to it, their IP address. So that is your proof that you did that. Okay. And you need the record of the email that was sent that has the wording of their consent. Okay. You need to be able to show that your opt-ins someone cannot submit their email address and their information without checking the box first, right? Because you have put that consent, that affirmative act consent as part of opting in. Okay. You need to have records of all of these things. So I think that I covered everything. It took us 40 minutes. It's not too bad. Because if you can do everything I just showed you, then it should take you about 40 minutes to do that as well. And I hope this really, really helped you. I know a lot of people are overwhelmed by it. I tried to make it as simple as possible. Do remember, I'm not a lawyer, but using what what is out there, all the information, and what legal people are recommending. This does follow everything that I understood that we need to do. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you need anything else. Again, I'm Neta Talmor from No Hassle website. You can look it up and contact me if you need anything. Okay, bye-bye then.